There is no genocide in northern Nigeria.
Thank you very much for joining me. So the northern Nigeria, the Sultan of Sokoto, have somehow been able to lobby the African Union president to tell Donald Trump that, first and foremost, withdraw the tag that Nigeria is a disgraced nation. Secondly, they have been able to tell Donald Trump that there is absolutely nothing like Christian genocide in the Nigerian state. That what they have is bandits, the Boko Haram's ISWAP, have killed more Muslims than even the Christians. So therefore, Donald Trump at this point in time must look away and, of course, withdraw that statement that Nigeria is a disgraced country. If you're just joining me, kindly like, subscribe, and share. So what do we have here? It is clear that the northern Nigeria are putting all their resources, okay, to douse this news, to water down this virality of Christian genocide. I mean, so many European countries, are talking about Poland, are talking about Germany, are you talking about even England, right? Most of these countries have supported United States of America that there is indeed targeted attack against the Christian population. I mean, how do you explain that within a space of 20 years, the Christian population has reduced by nothing less than 10 million? So many of them have been unalive. So many of them have had to run into diaspora seeking for a safe haven. And here we are today. Nigeria is a country with majority of the Muslim population. And of course, we know that the agenda is clear. They simply want to have Nigeria become an Islamic state. But what can we do as a Nigerian people? One, first and foremost, is the Nigerian Christians who want to be serious about this matter must understand that if we fail to push this narrative, if they fail to ensure that they continue to lobby and not just wait on God, okay? But because you can see that Sheikh Gumi has been traveling out. He went to Europe, the Central Europe. He went to Turkey. He has been to the Middle East. You can see Erufai has been said that he went to Qatar. The Sultan of Sokoto has been traveling and also been visiting states. Was in Ogun State just some days ago, trying to convince people, trying to seek for support of, maybe the Yoruba Islamic fanatics that let us push this agenda against those that are the purveyors of the Christian genocide, that when we speak more against it, hence Donald Trump will see that maybe there's no Christian genocide. Maybe there is not. And for me, from what I've evaluated, I think they are winning. Yes. One thing everybody must understand is Tinubu has little or nothing to do with this campaign. Tinubu will not also come out and push that there is indeed Christian genocide. He will not do that. But Tinubu at the same time will not stop the Christians when they protest. Now, the question is, why have the Christians in the Middle Belt particularly, why have they not staged a protest? Why is it that in the North, we have seen them had series of protests back to back? Throughout last week, there were protests every here and there. There was protests a week after Donald Trump declared Nigeria, a country with particular concern. Immediately, the Northerners gathered themselves. These are Molata Muslims. These are students of Sheikh Gumi. These are sympathizers of these Islamic terrorists. These are people that would tell us that these terrorists are not supposed to be unalive, that they should be negotiated with, that what they need is good governance, that they are activists to the northern, larger community. This is what they've said. This is what they do, and this is what they defend. Okay? You, as the Middle Belton Christians, into the Southern Christians, it is not enough for us to be quiet and just hope on God. God, please don't let Donald Trump forget to let him come to Nigeria. The world does not work like that. The world does not work like that. If the northern Nigerians can continue to lobby African Union, I'll play that video. The African Union president came out and said it. He said it without any fear of favor. Of course, because he's speaking for Nigeria as a republic country. He knows. He said it openly that Donald Trump should not come down to Nigeria. That Donald Trump is not welcome to invade another country in Africa. Okay? Yes. Oh, how do you think he has been able to lobby that? If you go and check who is the Secretary General of the United Nations, a lady that was nominated by Buhari, a Fulani woman. Yes, I'm going to try and search her name. A Fulani woman is the Secretary General. So these are the people that are controlling the narrative. Marty Cooker, for God knows what, has been bought. He has been compromised. These are the people who are supposed to be leading the crusade of this. Please tell me, how does the cry out of the Middle Belton Christians, of the Thor of TV, majority of these people, how does the cry out threaten the northern Nigerian? How does it? In so many places, they will tell you that they are not supporting Boko Haram, that they are not in support of ISWAP. Okay? In fact, before Donald Trump called or came out to insist that he will come and, bomb them out, some of them have been saying, yes, Nigeria, we need to find a way to wipe these bandits out. But all of a sudden, Donald Trump came out. They now said, no, it's better let us keep managing ourselves. Let us keep managing ourselves. That Donald Trump wants to come and cut away our resources. Donald Trump wants to come and do this, wants to come and do that. So you must understand that the Nigerian state is a state of confusion. The Nigerian state is a state whereby those that feel threatened must always rise up and defend themselves, because those that have held on to power are not ready to lean back. Those that have held on to power are not ready in any way, ready to lay low. They are ready to fight to the end. They are ready to hold on to that power. They are ready to do everything to silence those dissenting voice. That man, Reverend Dakomo, has been told, you must go and dig the grave. Let us see the corpse. We will conduct DNA to know that these people are truly Christian. Look at what they are telling the Reverend Dakomo. So all of a sudden now, they are no longer particular about human lives. They just want to. They don't just want to hear the fact that the Christians are killed in their large numbers. They are threatened because they know their agenda, because they know what they want to do. Why would the northern Nigeria be inviting a cleric who has said that jizya must be paid when the Muslims become the majority? Please, you tell me, why is it that at this time of this era where the Christians are crying out, they have decided to invite a Muslim imam, a very notorious one indeed, the one that has been banned from entering European countries, is being welcomed, being celebrated. In fact, you have to see the way they are jubilating, pouring flowers on the floor for him. All manners of ovation for this young man. This is a man who has pushed very extreme rhetorics. Okay, this is a man that has pushed very extreme preach of Islam. But the northern Nigeria invited him, and Tinubu is quiet. You know the most annoying thing? They are doing this not in the north, though. They brought it to Nigeria. They brought that man to Nigeria. How scary it is. His name is Sheikh Asim Al-Hakim. That's his picture over there. This is a program that is being conducted by Northern Nigeria in Lagos. And this is why you see me every time I try to cry out that Southwest, Yoruba, there's fire on the mountain, but we cannot perceive it yet. There is serious problem on the mountain. We as a people, we will be saying we are liberal. Half of the Yorubas are Muslims, half are Christians. The Fulanis have a perfect pathway, a window to balkanize the country. I mean, the Yorubas, easily. If they have 50% of the Yoruba people with them, of course, all their agenda will be easily perpetrated. Easily. The last time I saw the Professor Isha Kolede of JAM, he said something. He said that some radio stations are racist to Islam, called out channels. Now, most times they want to do Islamic programs on channels, they don't permit it. But we did not see Oloyede when Muri International Television, when they banned Christian programs. We didn't see him. You see, this level of hypocrisy, now him go finish us. Eventually, now him go finish us. Because when the Nigerian people will not be serious, when the Nigerian Christians that are crying for Donald Trump to come, they are not ready to back their words with action, they are not ready to protest, they are not ready to lead any form of public outcry, significant one, they just want to go to their corner and pray, God let him come. If Reverend Dakomo now is finally silenced, because me, I used to say there's no man that has no price. Could be money, could be other things. If Reverend Dakomo finally gets silenced, my people, this outcry of Christian genocide will be over. Well, let us see that man that I said they called, this sheikh that I said was called into Nigeria by northern Nigerians, and he'll be preaching in Lagos. Let's listen to him.
When Muslims go and conquer the adjacent country, what do? We kill them all? No. The Prophet says, the first thing you do is call them to Islam. If they refuse, then tell them Allah obliged upon you to pay taxation. In return, when enemy comes and attack your country, you don't fight. We Muslims protect you. Subhanallah, for this little money? Yes. And you enjoy sitting in your homes and in your country and live your life normally. But the ruling is for Sharia. So you do not open nightclubs, you do not fornicate. If they refuse, then we have to fight. And if we fight you, then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land, and you take because you refuse. I give you two good options in the coming 40, 50 years when the Muslims become strong as they're supposed to be.
There is no genocide in northern Nigeria. I think the complexity of the situation in northern Nigeria should push us think twice before declaring such or making such statements. The first victims of Boko Haram are Muslims, not Christians. The first victims, and I'm saying it with documented references. So the complexity in the northern part of Nigeria should not be taken, that easily. So what we are saying to those statements, with regard to those statements, is that the African continent is very complex.
You mentioned earlier that the bandits, the terrorists, needs convincing. And we all know the havoc they've created, in the society in Nigeria. They've raped women, they've killed lives, they've destroyed properties. So do we really need, do the government really need to convince these terrorists at this point? Because we've seen the cases of repentant Boko Haram, we've seen the cases of dialogue. So is convincing what is needed from between the government and the terrorists right now?
Okay, sorry, please to cut you. You see, the former governor of Bauchi State, Yuguda, was able also to go with government delegation into the bush, and they met more than 5,000 bandits. They were all complaining. Those who have lost their parents, those who have lost their brethren, those from our hostility too. So when you say they have killed, yes, I know they have killed, and it's wrong to kill anybody innocent. This is absolutely an obnoxious thing to do. We don't suppose that. But You see, if you know their psychology, they are on a revenge mission. Everybody knows the herdsmen, especially the flying herdsmen. They don't just attack people. We have been living with them for centuries. They don't attack people without any cause. So what I think government needs to do is to really bring them up together in a unison and in a holistic form, so that there is peace, and they are ready for that. Because if you call them for peace, they come. It's unlike the others, like IPOB. IPOB, the government has been trying to dialogue with them. They still refuse. They are still behind creating a separate state. They're secessionists. Besides being terrorists, they're secessionists. Well, these people are not secessionists. They want peace. They call for it. In fact, they even invited a lot of media. I think Daily Trust is high time it really goes into the bush and have, although they did it before, and the former government prevented it from airing it on air. So why is government afraid of listening to these people? They just want to demonize them and give reasons to come in and divide us and cause mayhem in Nigeria and divide the tribes. Like what is
The Nigerian army personnel opened fire on an indigenous commander of the patrol in Benue State. This is a man who is CSP Liam Agay, an indigene of Benue. You know, they have been mopping out the bandits going on, the Islamic terrorists disturbing the Benue area for the past 3 to 4 months. This has been reported by the indigenous people that have said that this has actually rise up a lot of controversies among the Benue people. You all understand that it is still in Benue that about I think 6 months ago or 5 months ago, where nothing less than 300 people were killed in Yel Tower, and ever since that time, the Nigerian police led by Betokun has deployed indigenous CSPs. Now, in a surprising, only God knows what happened. Yesterday, this man was shot at, his patrol van, his team, they were shot at, and a guy who has been celebrated locally because he's a man that knows the territory very well. Okay, so he in most cases has always been the one nipping the bud. There has not been another attack happening, particularly in that area. Let me quickly read this to you. This unfortunate incident calls for an immediate and thorough investigation by the army authorities to cover the circumstances surrounding the attack and ensure that the responsible are brought to justice. The statement further warned that such conduct undermines joint security, act of indiscipline. What I smell here is just that. This is why some people in the Nigerian states are always against state police. For me, I've always clamored for state police. Above all, if the Nigerian people cannot self-protect themselves through a state police, then this encroachment, this invasion that we always cry out for, the lamentation will never end. Look at this man, a policeman who was appointed, he was designated to that area. This Nigerian army personnel, was he just promoted or was he just sent to that place? These people were not patrolling in mufti. They wore their clothes. And the next thing was a Nigerian army personnel. The identity of that army personnel has been concealed. Of course, for obvious reasons, it has been concealed. When we say that the Nigerian army by itself, there are some infiltrators in there, so many people tell us, be careful of what you say. Don't take my word for it. There's a video circulating, you check it. How did Boko Haram knew that the American and the Nigerian army are coming